Hello, guys, welcome back. I hope you all are doing well. Without wasting time, let's get into the video.
Today, we are to know about Jahangir, we are to know about Shah Jahan, we are to know about Aurangzeb. However, before that, we need to see the later part of the Mughal rule, that is, the Mughal traditions of success, the Mughal relations with other rulers. Mansabdars and Jagirdars would answer our question, the UPSC question in 2019 that we had, and then we have Zabt and Zamindars. Then we have a closer look that is on Akbar's policies. So before going to Jahangir, before going to Shah Jahan, let's look into Akbar's policies. Let's look into what all policies he followed, and then the last topic is the Mughal Empire in the 17th century and after. And this we would do after knowing about Aurangzeb, which would be a continuation of the 18th century chapter. See, this policy says that the broad features of administration were laid down by Akbar and elaborately discussed by Abul Fazl in his book Akbarnama and the Ani Akbari that we saw in our last video. So Abul Fazl has explained that the empire was divided into provinces called Subas, which was governed by a Subadar, which carried out the political and military functions. So this Subadar carried out the political and military functions, and then each province had a financial officer or diwan. So the Todarmal that we were talking of was a diwan. So this financial officer has been appointed in every province, and the provinces that were divided, it was called subas, and subadar saw to the political and the military functions. And for the maintenance of peace and order, subadar was supported by other officers such as the military paymaster bakshi, the minister in charge of religious and charitable patronage Sadar, the military commanders Faujdar, and the town police commander Kotwal. So we have Kotwal, we have Faujdar, Sadar, Bakshi, Subedar, and Diwan. Diwan is the financial officer, the political and military is Subedar. Subedar gets assistance from the Bakshi, who is the military paymaster, Sadar, who is the charge of religious and charitable patronage, and we have Faujdars, that is the military commanders, and the town police, that is Sir Kotwal. So this was Akbar's policy, the administration. Then we also have that Akbar's nobles commanded large armies and had access to large amounts of revenue. While they were royal, the empire functioned efficiently, but by the end of the 17th century, many nobles had built independent networks of their own, and this we'll see in the 18th century chapter in our Modern India book. How the independent networks of our then Bengal had been established and their loyalties to the empire were weakened by their own self-interest. So this can be one of the point when we talk about why did Mughals decline. Then we have see, while Akbar was at Fatehpur Sikri, he started discussions on religion with the ulama, Brahmins, Jesuit priests who were Roman Catholics, and Zoroastrians. These discussions took place in the Ibadat Khana that we had already discussed yesterday, and we also saw the question that was there in the UPSC regarding Ibadat Khana. And so, what is this Ibadat Khana? What did Akbar discuss here? See, Akbar was interested in the religion and the social customs of different people. So, Akbar's interaction with people of different faiths made him realize that the religious scholars who emphasized ritual and dogma and were often bigots. What is dogma? See, it is a statement, interpretation declared as authoritative with the expectation that it would be followed without question. So Akbar felt that these rituals and dogma were often bigots. Bigots were individuals who was intolerant of another person's religious belief or culture. And then their teachings created divisions and disharmony amongst his subjects. This eventually led Akbar to the idea of Sulh-e-Kul or universal peace, which we also saw it is known as Din-e-Hilahi, which we have studied in our last video. Then this idea of tolerance did not discriminate between people of different religions in his realm. Instead focused on a system of ethics, honesty, justice, peace, which was universally applicable. Abul Fazl helped Akbar in framing a vision of governance around this idea of Sulh-e-Kul. Principle of governance was followed by Jahangir and Shah Jahan as well. This is Sulh-e-Kul, and this is Akbar's policy. One thing that we also need to know is that the liberal attitude of Akbar and the conciliation of his Mansabdari, cemented with the matrimonial alliances, diplomacy, and pragmatic approach towards Rajput, gave him an important position in the Rajput structure. What was happening is, due to the Rajput alliance, he got a boost to the empire, which enhanced its strength. It helped in the success of the Mansabdari system because he could hand over the Mansabs, the provinces, to those Rajputs to handle it efficiently. Then It was economically beneficial to him because the Rajputs had the Gujarat and its resources, and since he was in alliance with them, he could use it to his benefit. Then it influenced Akbar's religious policies, which made him get to the Din Hilahi or Ibadat Khana, and it influenced the development of culture also. So it was in the Rajput Mughal unity that was there. This helped Akbar in gaining a strong hold over the Mughal Empire and made him the best of the emperor amongst all of them. This is Akbar's policy and the significance of Rajput alliance. There is also one more small concept called petticoat government, which was from 1560 to 1564 that the history talks of. It says that this time Akbar had to tolerate some of the ladies of Haram, especially Mahamanga, in his administration, where she was holding an important position, and according to her influence, things were working out. So this is petticoat government that we need to think about, we need to see, and the rest of the Akbar's policy is done. Let's jump to Jahangir. Jahangir's name was Salim, and he was born by the blessing of Salim Chishti, and Akbar called him Sheikh Baba. Then what do we have? See, Jahangir was born on 20th September 1569 in Lahore. Mother was Harkabai, also known as Mariam Uz-Zamani, and father was definitely Akbar. So wives, Jahangir married Manbai in 1586 before he took the throne. Who was the daughter of Raja Bhagwan Das of Amer, Jaipur. Secondly, he married Jagat Gosai, daughter of Uday Singh, in 1586, again before this. And then after getting into the ruling, he married Meherun-Nissa, also known as Noor Jahan. So, Jahangir was a great scholar of history, geography, natural sciences, and art. Banned animal killings on 2 days, Thursdays and Sunday. And then tobacco cultivation was introduced during his time period by the Portuguese. So, when Jahangir was ruling, the colonial rule had entered. We have a small thing called Khusrau's Revolt, 1606. What's happening here is that son of Jahangir from Manbai, mother was Manbai, sister of Mansingh. So in 1604, mother Manbai committed suicide due to Salim's cruelty. So what happened was Khusrau revolted against his father and was arrested and blinded. And in 1620, he was killed on the order of Khurram. Khurram was the next emperor that was going to be taking the throne. Then we have Meherun-Nissa. See, Meherun-Nissa's first husband was Ali Kuli Bey. He was also known as Sher Afghan, which was a title given to him by Jahangir. He was posted in Burdwan earlier, settled there, but he was murdered by Qutbuddin in 1607. So what happens is that Meherun-Nissa marries Jahangir in 1611. Then Jahangir met Meherun-Nissa on Narrows festival in Meena Bazaar of Agra and married with her in 1611. So she practically ruled from the 1611 to the 1627 with the help of junta. Then we also have Asaf Khan's daughter Arjun and Banu Begum was married with Khurram, and Ladli Begum married with Shahriyar, who is son of Jahangir. Asmat Begum discovered Itra, that is perfume, which is so nicely used in India now. Let's know about what is junta. Let's know about what was the life of Jahangir and everything. See, if you see Jahangir had Manbai, Jagat Gosai and Meherun-Nissa. So Manbai had two sons, Khusrau and Shahriyar. So this Khusrau is the one who revolted in 1606 because this Manbai committed suicide. So this Khusrau revolted, and then for mother's death, and Jagat Gosai had Khurram, and this Khurram is the Shah Jahan, and then we have Meherun-Nissa who started the junta, and Meherun-Nissa with junta would rule this administration. So what happened is, in this junta, there was father, there was the mother, there was the brother, there was Khurram, and there was herself, that is Meherun-Nissa. So father was who? Ghiyas Begus. Mother was who? Asmat Begum. Bhai, as in the brother, was who? Asaf Khan, who had two daughters, Mumtaz Mahal and Ladli Begum. Mumtaz Mahal married this Khurram, and Ladli Begum married Shahriyar, who was the second son of Manbai. So Khusrau was blinded by this Khurram, and Shahriyar was married to Ladli Begum, who was the sister of Mumtaz Mahal, and Mumtaz Mahal was married to Khurram, and she Mehrunissa was again there. So in Junta there was father, there was mother, there was brother, there was Khurram, and there was Mehrunissa herself, and this Khurram was the son of Jagat Gosai. This is Junta that we talk of. And other facts of Jahangir was he started the system of wearing earrings for males. During Jahangir's period, Mughal painting was in climax. Jahangir's paintings of animals and birds had started. He wrote his autobiography as Tuzak-e-Jahangir or Jahangir Nama. Painting was his favorite art, and Jahangir could distinguish very easily that who painted which part of the painting. Famous painters during his time period were Abdul Hassan, Ustad Mansur, Bishan Das, and Manohar. So now if you see the question paper, you can think of on which answer to select. This is it about Jahangir. Then we come to Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan, or the Prince Khurram that we talk of, ruled from 1627 to 1658. So he was born on 5th January 1592 at Lahore. Mother was Jagat Gosai, the second wife of Jahangir. We've seen that. Now, Jahangir gave the title Shah Jahan to Khurram when he defeated Rana Amar Singh of Rajasthan, and he was posted in Deccan as Subedar. His time period was golden time period of Mughal architecture. However, at the time of Jahangir, Mughal was at its climax. So the important buildings that he made is Red Fort in Delhi, Jama Masjid in Delhi, Moti Masjid in Agra, Diwan-e-Khas in Delhi, Diwan-e-Aam in Delhi, Takht-e-Tauz, the peacock throne, which was seen last time in 1739, after which Nadir Shah took away from India. Where is it today? If you know, do comment it down. Then we have Shalimar Garden, which was again an important building in Lahore. It's now there. Then we come to the children of Shah Jahan. See, Shah Jahan had 3 daughters, Jahanara, Kohanara, and Roshanara. And he had 4 sons, Dara Shikoh, Shah Shuja, Aurangzeb, Murad. Shah Jahan had the worst experience of being a parent, because all these 4 sons have revolts and fights amongst them, and Shah Jahan had to spend his last years in captivity. So, Shah Jahan ordered the historians to write his contemporary history, that is Padshahnama. Mughal campaigns continued in the Deccan under Shah Jahan. Afghan noble Khan Jahan Lodi rebelled and was defeated. So Afghan was defeated, then campaigns were launched against Ahmadnagar, Bundelas were defeated, and Orcha seized. In northwest, campaign to seize Balkh from the Uzbeks, unsuccessful it was, and Kandahar was lost to the Safavids. And then in 1632, Ahmadnagar was finally annexed and the Bijapur forces sued for peace. Then it starts the War of Succession. See, Shah Jahan had 4 sons, Murad, then we have Aurangzeb, then we have Shah Shuja, and we also had Dara Shikoh. So Dara was the eldest son of Shah Jahan, and then Murad was given Gujarat to handle, Deccan was given to Aurangzeb, Shah Shuja handled Bengal, and Dara Shikoh was given the Multan. And Dara Shikoh was the person who stayed with his father, that is Shah Jahan, in Agra. Now what happens is that in 1657, Shah Jahan fell seriously ill. So what happens is that his sons start preparation to contest for the throne. He had 4 sons. Now what happens? Murad proclaims himself the emperor. However, when Shah Jahan got little better, he dispatched Jaswant Singh and Suleiman Shikoh against Aurangzeb's army. These were 2 people who helped in Shah Jahan's administration. So this combined army against Aurangzeb's army, he sent Jaswant Singh and Suleiman Shikoh against the Aurangzeb's army, but Aurangzeb combined with Murad, and then both of them defeated Jaswant Singh and Suleiman Shikoh. So there were 2 battles. 58 again. 2 battles were Dharmal and Samughar. So in Ujjain, Dharwal is in Ujjain and Samughar is in Agra. And however, here Aurangzeb won and Dara Shikoh lost. Then Shah Jahan was arrested by Aurangzeb and he passed remaining years of his life in captivity till 1666. Dara Shikoh was beheaded and Murad was imprisoned, later killed by Aurangzeb. Shah Shuja was also defeated, but he fled to Arakan, and thus comes Aurangzeb. When we see Aurangzeb, you'll find that Aurangzeb is complete opposite of what was Shah Jahan or what was Jahangir any day. Aurangzeb was orthodox, he was of a suspicious character, and he alienated the Rajput policy. He weakened the Mughal Empire for the first time. And then, see, Aurangzeb took the title of Alamgir, that is the world victor. He was born in 1618 at Dohad, Ujjain. So he was a great scholar of Arabic, Persian, and Turkish, an expert calligrapher. Then he banned the Navroz festival. Then the Jharoka Darshan that was started by Akbar was stopped. Then he was an expert Veena player. Who was the Nagada player and who is the Veena player? Remember all of these. See, he banned singing, dancing in the court, he checked gambling and dancing women and ordered them to leave his kingdom. So, this is one good thing that he did. Then he decided to demolish temples in his craze to spread Islam. He banned Hindu religious fairs and festivals. He banned Tula Dan, which is again started by Akbar and held every Sunday. Then he abolished the sati system, which we saw that Akbar tried but he couldn't. Then he had command over several languages and worked for about 20 hours a day. He was also well known as Zinda Pir, that is a living saint, also known as Darwesh. And then contemporary historian Khafi Khan wrote that Aurangzeb led his life as a saint. Who were the wives of Aurangzeb? Dilras Begum, Nawab Bai, Aurangabadi Mahal and Udaipuri Mahal. So these were the four wives of Aurangzeb. So this, see, in the northeast, Ahoms were defeated in 1663, rebelled again in the 1680s, campaigns in the northwest against the Yusufzai, Sikhs were temporarily successful. Mughal intervention in the succession and internal politics of the Rathore Rajputs of Marwar led to the rebellion. Campaigns against the Maratha chieftain Shivaji were initially successful, but Aurangzeb insulted Shivaji, who escaped from Magra, declared himself an independent king. So now you'll see that whereas in Shah Jahan's rule, he had started employing Marathas in imperial services, here Aurangzeb is insulting the Marathas. And then Prince Akbar rebelled against Aurangzeb, received support. This Akbar is different, okay? And received support from the Marathas, and the Deccan Sultanate finally fled to Safavid, Iran. Then, after Akbar's rebellion, Aurangzeb sent armies against the Deccan Sultanates, Bijapur annexed, Golconda annexed, and then Aurangzeb personally managed campaigns in the Deccan against the Marathas, who started guerrilla warfare. If you know what is guerrilla warfare, comment down. Aurangzeb also had to face the rebellion in North India of the Sikhs, Chats and Satnamis, and the northeast of the Ahoms, and in Deccan of the Marathas. Death was followed by a succession conflict amongst his sons. Like he gave it here, he got it here.